Hi everyone, and welcome back to Queen G's Recipes, and today we are going to be making an Ooey Gooey Butter Cake. Now it is very easy because we are using a boxed cake mix in this recipe, but trust me when I tell you it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be so good and something definitely different than a regular baked cake that you would make. Now for the base here, we are first going to need some vanilla cake mix. Now I have removed half a cup from one box, and that we will be using for our filling. And here we also have some softened butter at room temperature and 1 egg. Now my butter was on my stovetop here and my oven was on, so that's why it melted a little bit, but that's totally fine. As long as it is nice and soft, we are ready to go. So let's move on to making our base, but before we do that, you want to make sure you have your oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and you also want to have a 9 by 13-inch baking cake pan or a glass baking dish that has been lightly greased with some nonstick spray or some softened butter. And let's move on to the next step. Okay, so into our mixing bowl, we will add in our cake mix, our softened butter. We will actually be adding in all 3 ingredients. Our egg, and I'm going to add my paddle attachment onto my machine, and we will mix until it forms a nice dough base. Okay, so you will notice it is a firmer batter here, almost like a light doughy kind of base. Now what I'm going to do is just scrape the bottom and sides, and I'm going to press this into my prepared baking pan. Okay, so you want to try and spread your base as evenly as you can. So that's done. Now, when spreading your base, if you find it gets a little sticky on your hands, you can lightly spray your hand with a little bit of nonstick spray. So that's definitely an option. And now what we're going to do is just set this aside, and we're going to work on our filling, but it will be our cake part of the cake. Now what I'm going to do is just wash my bowl, and I'll meet you right back here so we can move on with our Ooey Gooey Butter Cake. Okay, so now for our cake batter, what we're going to need is a half a cup of our cake mix, and I've also added in some salt. You will need some eggs, softened butter at room temperature, some sugar, some cream cheese at room temperature, very important that it's at room temperature, and you'll also need some milk and vanilla extract, and that's it. So let's move on to making our cake batter. Okay, so now into our mixing bowl, we will add in our cream cheese, our butter, we will also add in our sugar and our vanilla extract. And now we will whisk these ingredients together until they are all nicely combined. Okay, so this looks great. Now you just want to make sure that in between you're scraping the bottom and sides of your bowl so that all your ingredients are well mixed together. And now we will add in our milk, okay, and our eggs, and give this another good mix. Our batter looks amazing. It almost looks like a cheesecake batter, so that's definitely a good sign. And now what we're going to do is add in our cake mix and salt, and we're going to mix just until well combined. Okay, this looks perfect. So now we are ready to place this on top of our base, and we're going to bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. You don't want to overbake or underbake so that we have that perfect Ooey Gooey butter cake texture. I'll meet you right back here as soon as my cake has baked. Okay, so my cake baked for exactly 35 minutes. Now I know that every oven is different, but you need to make sure that you don't actually overbake your cake. It should be somewhat underbaked a few minutes. So if that makes any sense. So that's what is going to give you that dense, wonderful, moist, and just wonderful ooey gooey butter cake. Now you also have to make sure that you allow it to cool completely. So it's gonna take a few hours. So if you wanna make this for the evening, just make it in the morning or early afternoon so you have at least 4 hours to completely cool it. So that is a must. And now we are definitely ready to try it. I have already dusted it with icing sugar. You can add some berries. You can top it with a little bit of whipped cream. I would probably use unsweetened whipped cream, just plain, or you can top it with whatever you like and just have it as it is. It is wonderful either way. So let's slice it and try it. Okay, so before we move on to the taste test, I do suggest you be careful with the baking time because every oven is different. So between 35 to 40 minutes, you want to make sure that you don't overbake your cake. It should be settled in the middle, but it shouldn't be baked at the exact baking time, if that makes any sense to you. But to just be careful with that, and that's about it. So now we are definitely ready to try some. I did top mine with some fresh strawberries, and I think that is the best bet when it comes to ooey gooey butter cake because it is a sweet cake. So let's try it. It is definitely wonderful, a very, very moist and dense cake. It is just very delicious and very easy to put together, most definitely. Doesn't require very many ingredients. And that's about it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a nice big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload a new and delicious recipe. Share the recipe with your family and friends, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. The links will be in the description box below along with the recipe. And I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye everyone.